Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an A-Pro member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is A-Pro's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. A-Pro membership is about way more than advocacy. A-Pro connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry, people who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. A-Pro's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. A-Pro's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. A-Pro is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With A-Pro, members get more. More support, more connections, and more success. Head over to rtohq.org and join the A-Pro family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better. It's essential. See you at the top with A-Pro.
And welcome to the RTO Show with Danny and Pete. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm your host, Pete, and today we're going to close the damn sale.
Close it.
Get that sale.
Close it. Close it.
Make sure that you're not wasting anybody's time, guys. We are here to make some money, and the way we got to do it is, listen, we got to be valuable, and we got to show them, the customers, that they are important to us. And how are we going to do that? We're going to close the sale and get it done.
So how do you close a sale? I think that was a question I have a lot of people ask me all the time, because we say that all the time, especially to our salespeople, is, guys, just close it. And they always go, how? How do you close a sale? Well, I think it starts with overcoming the objectives.
It is.
That's how you really close a sale.
So making sure that you go through the process. Well, there's one easy way to kill it and nail Cupid's arrow right every time. And that's number one is ask for it, right? You got to ask to close a sale. Now, if you walk up to somebody, they say they want something, you ask to close a sale and they say they're good, you walk up to the counter and you're good. But if they don't, this is a way that we can tell you how to get past those objections and close a damn sale. What's number one, Danny? How do you really get into somebody that's saying, hey, man, I'm not sure? What are you looking for?
Well, I think the first thing is all about the greeting, right? Don't you agree?
Well, I think the first thing is when they come in the door and I hear that little jingle jingle and I'm like, hey, welcome to the store. You know, my name is Pete. So I say, hey, welcome to the store. You know, my name is Pete. What's your name? Get the name out. Make sure that you get it out and use it often. So if it's Jimmy, Bob, Jill, Bucko, Paul, whatever it is, make sure you use Bucko and Paul even more often than normal. But make sure that you say their names and use it often, man. Dale Carnegie always says there is no sweeter music than somebody hearing their own name. And now, a word from our sponsor. Unlimited Marketing Solutions is a social media marketing company that can market directly to your specific customer base and provide solid and trackable results. Unlimited Marketing Solutions are also extremely flexible to meet your unique needs and budget, and are currently running a promotion for 10% discount off your first 6 months of marketing when you mention the code RTO Show. That's RTOSHOW when you call them at 352-553-3245. You can also email them at unlimitedmarketingsolutions@gmail.com. Now back to the show with Danny and Pete.
And once you have their name and you're building the rapport, one of the techniques I always use, and I tell my salespeople this, is don't go directly into the sale. Don't go directly into, oh, what are you looking for? Or, what brought you in? I know that's kind of a go-to, but I disagree with that. My personal go-to is I ask for your name, and then I just start a conversation that's not even related to why you're even here. Hey, Pete, how you doing? I'm Danny. Oh, cool. Hey, are you new here? You live around here? No, I've lived here my whole life. Oh, no, I just moved here from Texas. Oh, man, Texas. Wow, the show me state. Okay. I just start making conversation that has nothing to do with why you're even in my store. I try to find something. Maybe they're wearing a Bucs shirt. I start talking about the Bucs. Maybe even if they're wearing the Cowboys, I make a joke. Hey, you can't come in here with that shirt on, sir. Just a joke. It's just a joke, but I break the ice. I break the ice, and I feel like that's important because it lets their guard down. Because no matter what, when customers come in, think about a car dealership. When was the last time you went car shopping, Pete? I pretty much would tell you, I don't know when it was, but you were on defense mode. You went in there telling your wife, no, 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 no. Even though you're there physically to get a car, but in your mind, you're ready to say no at least 4 times, maybe 40 times. So you have to understand that with the consumers, when the customers walk in the store, that they're mentally preparing themselves to say no. So you have to break that ice. You have to break that wall down, and you have to do it by being personal, relatable. Personally, I feel one of the next steps to do, again, even almost before getting into the sale, is getting them to fill out the order form right then and there while you're talking, while you're building that rapport. Have them sit down, just have them start filling, or maybe you start filling out for them.
Well, the best thing to do, I think, is always fill it out for them, or at least be ready to fill it out for them. I mean, this is a service, and one thing that can always differentiate rent-to-own from a lot of other services is, given the opportunity, and it even happened. I mean, every once in a while it happens. 'Cause I actually did buy a car not that long ago, and they did give us a form to fill out. And the difference between the rookie and the non-rookie was that the non-rookie grabbed my pen and he grabbed the paper and he started filling out the information. Now, the only difference when you're doing that stuff is that sometimes people, they care about their personal information. They don't want to say it out loud, but there's nobody in the store, and fill it out for them. Get it done. Take them to a quiet corner where they're not giving their information to everybody, and fill it out for them. That's kind of that way to break the ice right off the bat. When you're talking to Paul, Jim, Bob, Mary Sue, and you get them sitting down and you're talking to them about it, this is not only a time where you can fill out the rental order correctly, but you can kind of break the ice and really find the need of the customer. And then as you're doing that, you can start thinking of what is the objective that they're here. Are they trying to solve a problem? Are they trying to fill a need? Are they trying to get something that makes them feel better? Are they doing something for the kids? And then you can use that to make them feel better about the purchase that they're about to create. The first thing is, as you're going through the rental order and you start looking at it, right, and you're going through, be mindful of the budget, man. Make sure that when you're going into this, and I'm going to always tell you this, you never know somebody else's budget, right? You never know what somebody else can afford. They can make $5 a week and be able to spend all $5, or they can make $1 million and not be able to spend any of it. So you never want to prejudge, but as you're going into that, work thing, where how often you get paid and what is it that you do, and oh my God, that's awesome. Well, listen, how much of this budget are you willing to spend? Put that in their lap so that they can tell you what it is that their budget is, so that you can meet their needs already off the bat without going far in the deep end or something too shallow. You can really offer them something that they want, something of great value that you have to offer, because you know what you're working with.
Well, I think one of the most common objectives that we hear in our industry is, well, that's a little more than what I wanted to spend. So how do you overcome that objective? Well, my personal tip is, one, as I always ask, what's more than what you wanted to spend? Is it the same as cash price, or is it the actual payment? Because little more than what I want to spend can mean two different things. It might be that they just they look at that same as cash price as a little higher than what they wanted it to be, but they're actually comfortable with the payment. Or maybe they're fine with that same as cash price because they're looking long term, and it's that payment value that's a little more out of their budget. So I think you have to determine immediately, well, what is more what you want to spend? Is it the payment, or is it the same as cash? I then think you want to try to sell the product, kind of what you said, showing the value of the product and why it's worth this much. And, durability, longevity, you won't have to get another one for a couple years, et cetera, et cetera. You really want to sell the product and make the customer believe that it's worth the value that it's set at. Lastly, if they're just really stuck with, it's just more out of my budget, try to find them a similar product within their budget. Maybe you put them into a pre-loved, and again, showing the value of that pre-loved set, or just finding a brand new set that's similar, same color, maybe same texture, but maybe not the same material, and is at a more affordable price that's in their budget. That's how you overcome that specific objective of, it's a little more than what I want to spend.
So you know what their budget is, you know what they're looking for. You also want to understand that when they're coming in there, usually it's to solve a problem. Whether it's a need, whether it's a problem in the sense that they want to do something with something that they don't have. In other words, they want a game, but they don't have a TV and a game to do it on. Or if they need to fill a need as far as kids' bedding or taking care of the laundry, right? You always want to identify the customer's concerns and then ask follow-up questions. Be specific. What you want to do is you want to make sure you get them into the right situation. You're solving that need right away. And when you're solving that need, it gives you the opportunity to come up with objections, right? You go to the lawyers and the judges and I object. Well, that's what they're going to do. They might not say no. They might say something else, but this is when you're going to start coming into the kickback. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not for them. It doesn't necessarily mean that they can't afford it. But the number one thing that all consumers say, the number one thing across any consumer purchase line is, no, I don't want it. Hold off. Wait a minute. I'm unsure.
Well, I think before they say no, that the actual objective line, the number one objective line I hear all the time is, I have to talk to my spouse. Oh, I have to talk to my husband. I have to talk to my wife. I have to talk to the tooth fairy. I don't know. Whoever they say they have to talk to, they have to talk to somebody. Personally, what I always do is I actually say, well, can we get them on the phone? Let me talk to them. I'm not scared to talk to anybody. If I'm willing to sell to you, I'll sell to your wife. I'll sell to your husband. Maybe it's a schedule conflict. Maybe you're off, but they're working. And I get that. So how do you overcome that objective? Hey, let's get a 3-way phone call conversations right now. We can go into the office. We can call them. Or how about this? Oh, they can't talk. Can they text? Let's text. Let's send a picture. Let's send them pictures of the product. Send them pricing. Let them aware of what you are doing and what options they have, because I understand it's a mutual decision that you guys have to make. One of the last things you can do to overcome this, my ace up my sleeve, is, well, can you put a small deposit to hold the merchandise? I understand you got to go home, you got to talk about it, but I would hate to have to sell this after you leave. Can you put a small deposit down and let's save it? I can save it for you for 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever your terms are. I can save it for you for a week, but go talk to your husband, talk to your wife, talk to whoever. And if y'all decide you don't want to, I'll give you the deposit back. But at least if you guys decide you want to go through with it, hey, it's yours. All you got to do is call me back with the rest of the down payment and we can get it delivered for you.
It's always a good thing to make sure that you include the partner. No matter what the partner or who the partner is, you always want them to feel like they're not making a decision out of turn or out of pocket, right? So you want to include them. You want to get them involved, even if it's something that takes a little bit more time or a little bit more effort. Getting that customer to feel comfortable with the resolve, with the answer, with what you're doing is the most important part, because you want to feel like they're making the right decision. But time is against everybody. Right? We don't want to sit there and waste a whole bunch of time. Like you said, you want to get that deposit, let them know I can hold it for you. If we can't resolve this now, then we can put a pin in it and come back to it for whatever you deem the deposit is worthy. But you always want to give reasons as to why they should make a purchase now and remind them the sense of urgency. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've told somebody, I know that it's going to sound like a line, but somebody's going to come in after you and they're going to be looking for it and we're going to sell it. And then, you might not have that product when you come back and it might be a little bit harder for me to get, or it's going to take a little bit more time or whatever the case is. And then they're like, no, and you get their name, number, you try to get it, you try to do everything you can to close the sale. They walk out. And then 10 minutes later, the one item that you've had on the floor for 90 days hasn't gone anywhere. Somebody else is going to look at it and go, hey, I saw somebody looking at that. What is that? Oh, it's that, that OLED TV that hasn't gone anywhere for 90 days. And I'll take it. Well, I don't have a deposit on it. I only have one in stock because I don't carry a lot of those in line. Sure, why not? And then somebody will call back 20 minutes later. Hey, I'm ready for it. Hey, man, we didn't get that deposit. You remember that deposit? That time crunch is always important. Make sure you let them know that there is a sense of urgency. If you get this now, we can set up not only a delivery in your time schedule, we can make sure that we get the payment out of the way. We can work on all of the payment issues, all of the delivery issues, all of the service. We can get everything out of the way now as opposed to making a decision now and then trying to do it later. Let's get them to understand. The faster you get it in, the faster you can get this paid off.
Let's take a quick break.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Chow here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing. Let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too.
Yeah, I mean, that follows suit with the third most common catchphrase or objective is, I'm just shopping around. I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. Nobody's ever just browsing. You don't go browsing for cars unless you're really interested in getting a car. You don't go browse. You know where you go browsing at? The mall. That's where you go window shopping, or I'm bored. Let's go to the mall. And even then, you're buying something on impulse. It might be a Starbucks coffee or lunch, but then, what I'm saying, like, nobody really browses. They're really interested. How do you overcome those objectives? Well, like Pete said, you got to give the urgency. You got to let them know that this is available right now. And the best way to do it is to secure it right now. you uphold the best customer service and be relatable. Make them feel comfortable with you, because the only reason why they're not purchasing right away is because they're not comfortable with you yet. Have you ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? I love that movie. I'm quoting another movie. Yes, I did it. But Wolf of Wall Street, he said it. He says, it's not that they have to really talk to somebody. It's not that, oh, they don't have the money or whatever. It's that they don't know you and they don't trust you yet. You have to be trustworthy. Let them know that you're not just about the almighty dollar, that you actually are after their best interest and their objective, and that you want it to be a perfect fit for them. Once you're relatable and trustworthy, they're going to be more comfortable to saying, yeah, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. Because if they believe you, here's the thing, what do you got to lose? If you tell me, hey, Danny, put $20 down on it, hold it today, and if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. I'm pretty sure I got $20. The only reason why I'm not giving it to you is because I don't know how much of a hassle is it going to be to get my $20 back. Am I going to have to jump through hoops? Or do I really trust this guy? And this guy makes me feel nice and warm and fuzzy. Like, you know what? I think this guy's legit. This guy's real. And if I give you $20, you'll just give it back to me, no hassle, because I decided that me and my wife, we don't want it. Bada bing, bada boom. That's my 2 cents. What I would also say is, people do business with people, not companies, which falls in line. So be relatable. Be funny. I'm jumping ahead here. I'm jumping ahead to turnover sales, but it's funny what you said. I think this is a great little tip. All right. So you're with a client. You're looking at a couch.
I like this couch.
All right. They're looking at it, whatever, but they're kind of iffy. I don't know if I want it right now. Have another employee come up right in the middle of that and say, hey, Pete, I got somebody on the phone interested in this couch. Are you selling it or is it available? That creates urgency. It's about to leave. Do you want it? Yes or no? Because now there's a customer on the phone.
It's a sense of urgency. You also have to have somebody who understands the turnover sale, and I know we'll get to that. Always got to remember the sign, right? Whatever the sign is for the turnover, to make sure that somebody's comfortable with whatever. Because I can say this wholeheartedly. I've been doing sales for years, and not everybody is the same as everybody else, right? There's not one shoe fits all when it comes to sales. And it doesn't mean that one sales associate can't take care of all customers. When you're talking about their ability to jive, the chemistry is not always there, because not everybody is for everybody. If you don't have that chemistry with that person, you feel like you're losing that sale, don't be afraid to turn it over. Don't be afraid to give the signal, whatever that might be. But creating that sense of urgency is a great, great way to make that happen. Oh, man. Somebody's on the line to get this right now. Hey, listen, I'm going to grab that phone. Why don't you take care of this real quick and see if they want to get it before before I find out if that person wants it. And there's a couple ways, a couple different ways to do that. But you got to always remember, in the business, creating that sense of urgency also means making sure that you have the ability to get back to it. During your sales approach, during the time that you're talking to the customer, whether they're filling out a rental order or not, make sure you get their name, make sure you get a contact phone number, and make sure you get their email. You want to sometime, some way, be able to get a hold of them if it doesn't go through. Now, we never work on the fact that we're not going to make the sale, but we always have the just in case, right? Anybody on a tightrope, they don't expect to fall, but there's always a net, because if they fall, they want to get caught. So this is your catch-up net. Make sure that you have something to write on, or if you have a really, really good memory, which I wouldn't count on because I don't, make sure that you get those 3 things before they leave. And then make sure, as you're giving that best customer service and you're creating that sense of urgency and you're getting everything, make sure that you do service with a smile, right? Make sure that it's not high pressure tactics like, you better get this now, you better do this. Make sure that you have that smile. Make sure that they know it's a customer and ease thing. Another thing on Danny's tip on that, give your $20 back. Sometimes I found it's even better to offer them more than what they're offering you, right? Hey, man, not only will I give you $20, man, I got this awesome set of, we give away sunglasses. So we'll say sunglasses, koozie, a little ball. Listen, man, not only will I give it back to you, but I give you this squeegee ball and this koozie just for coming in and being a great sport about it. Give them that sense of, you don't even have to do business with me, and you'll still end up getting more than what you walked in with.
Statistically speaking, only 20% of sales are actually closed on the spot. That's statistically nationwide. It ups to 30 if you turn over the sale. So that's why we were talking about a little about turning over the sale. And, car dealerships do that the best. Well, hold on. Let me bring something. They bring the manager out there. And I love to say that we're always practicing what we preach. This is something I'm definitely going to be implementing this year, but there needs to be a 1-2 punch, a 1-2 combo. So if the salesperson is not closing it, they have to turn it over to somebody. Specifically, I would prefer the GM, but maybe the GM's not available, so you pass it on to the assistant, or maybe even bring an account manager out there. It's just another person to say, hey, how you doing, Pete? So I hear you're interested in this couch. Oh, no, we're just thinking about it. We're not going to get it right now. Oh, well, what's stopping you from getting it today? It's just another person, it's another face. And again, because people do business with people, you might never know. It's nothing personal. What if they just feel better with that other person? And then boom, that's what closes the sale. It's a team effort. So keep that in mind when it comes to sales. Only 20% are being closed on the spot. Up to 30% if you turn over the sale.
Well, I think we also got to remember, as you're in the sale, right, either way you're turning it over or not, make sure that you remind people why they're at rent to own. Make sure that you remind them of all the benefits that you have. And we're talking product first, right? So when they walk in, we're selling the name brand situation, the name brand TV, the name brand washer and dryer, the name brand sofa, and all the warranties. But then, as you're going through and you're letting them know of all these great things, make sure that you remind them of all the benefits that rent to own has, right? You can have short-term or long-term payments. You have the difference between weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, and monthly payments. You have the ability to pay off quickly and the same as cash, or you have the ability to keep on making those low payments to a certain time period, and then they will own it. You always have the fact that you're going to get service, you can have free delivery, you can add on to your situation. So if you only get a TV, you can add a stand, or if you get a washer, you can always add a dryer. If you get a fridge, you can always add a stove. Come up with those basic things that, you think that everybody knows, but they might not. Make sure that they understand that. Make sure that they understand the benefits of being with you and your particular rent to own. What does your rent to own have to offer that the other industry leaders just don't? And it could be anything as far as taking payments online, or doing something on a text message, or making sure that they have auto pay, or, maybe that customer wants to be reminded about their payment. I still have customers that want that, and we are not afraid to do that. Now, not everybody does that, right? If you call your insurance company and tell them, hey, man, can you remind me my payment's due? Yeah, that ain't happening. If you ain't checking your emails, you're not going to get it. So also remind them, what is it that this industry has to offer that would make them a great fit for what we have and how we will serve and take care of their needs? Don't forget that. And then if all else fails, you're right there. I just want to redact that just so you guys know. Texas is not the show me state. That is Missouri. But
my bad.
If you're in Missouri and somebody comes in, right, and somebody's about to walk out the door, then you want to hit up the last tactics. And the last tactic is, what is it? What am I going to do, or what am I going to give this customer? What's the last hook to make sure that I talk to them before they leave? And remember, you've got the follow-up sale. And the follow-up sale, you want to be specific about a time to follow up. Hey, Ms. Jones, I wasn't able to get that to you today, or whatever reason, how you have to go. That coffee break that you're taking is ending, or whatever the case is. So we got to talk. Listen, I'd like to follow up with you on this date, on this time, whatever the case. Is that good for you? Or can you give me a time and date where I can reach out to you? Is this the right, number and email to make sure that we can handle it? 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock is great. Oh, you take your lunches at 12:30 to 1:30? Yeah, you know what? I'll call you at 12:45. That way you can get your lunch, and maybe we can talk a little bit real quick. I don't want to interrupt, but make sure that you set up that time. Make sure you set up that follow-up.
80% of people say no 4 times before saying yes. When you think about follow-up, it's not just a one-time follow-up. I think that's great, Pete. Definitely ask for the date and time, be specific, and let them give you a date and time. But what happens if they don't answer? Or what happens if they do answer and they say, oh, no, yeah, I appreciate your time, but we're just not interested anymore. You just give up? No. I think there's different points of contact you want to do. That's why it's so important to get their name, number, and email. What I suggest you want to do is you want to give them a call one time. All right. Maybe they don't answer, or maybe they say, no, I'm not interested. Maybe then you send them an email with a coupon or a discount just to try to entice them. They don't respond back to that. Maybe then you send them a text message. If you got their permission, that they opted in for the SMS text messaging, and then lastly, you want to try to contact them at least 5 times before actually giving up. Because again, statistically speaking, 80% of people are going to say no the first 4 times, but that 5th or 6th or 7th time, they might come back around. Maybe they don't need that refrigerator right now because, maybe they just got theirs fixed. But what happens with 30 days later? It breaks down again. And then they realize, I don't want to keep spending the money and getting this thing fixed over and over again. I just want to give me a brand new one. I personally been dealing with this, so here's the thing. Me and my wife, we have a refrigerator, and I've probably put about $500 into this stupid refrigerator just fixing it in the past year. But so finally she's like, you know what? I'm tired of putting money into it. Let's just get a brand new one. And of course I'm like, no, I don't want to get a brand new one. Oh my God, the money. Oh my God. But she has a point. Well, how much money are we going to put into this thing before we realize we could have bought a brand new one if we would have just put that money?
You already bought another one.
Right. So salespeople, probably been hitting me up. No, I don't need that. I don't need that nice French door refrigerator or whatever, with the tablet on it. But I do need a side-by-side now, because, I'm tired of putting money into this refrigerator that keeps causing me service problems, So keep that in mind. So I think you want to, be strong with your follow game, be courtesy, be respectful, but be pleasant. Stay on top of them, because that fifth or sixth time, you might just close that sale.
Well, there's a couple different responses too as well. So somebody walks out the door, you can also make the different times that you call specific to something. And when I say that, if they had a fridge, you can say, hey, I'm calling about this specific fridge. And you can say, hey, somebody's looking at it, or hey, this is now on sale, or hey, this specific sofa's on sale to the point where I think you wanted to know about it. Okay, that's one. You make a second call. Hey, maybe you're not calling about that specific item, but you mention that specific item. Hey, listen, just so you guys know, Mrs. Jones, this weekend we're having a sale where, you pay 1 week, get a week free. I thought about you and about that sofa. I thought, man, what a great deal. You can come in and actually get more value for your money. So thinking about you, and then hang up with a great message, right? Then the second time, a third time you're calling is, hey, we're having a customer appreciation day. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need this particular sofa, but on any item, you get this customer specific idea, right? So it could be, hey, anybody who rents something gets a free sandwich, or anybody who does anything, you can get 2 weeks free, a month off, a percentage off. Okay, great. Well, now I'm on the fourth call. They didn't answer anything like that. Hey, I was going over your rental order. I see it's your birthday. If you're still interested in getting something from me, give me a call. I got some birthday deals that are going on. I can make it happen. And then that way it gives you a breaking reason to call without going over the same monotonous idea over and over again. Change it up. Now you're still going to go over the product or products that they were looking for, but change it up. Change up the reason, change up the idea. Hey, listen, I have a brand new one of these that came in. If somebody comes in, you can say, hey, listen, I got a brand new one of these, or I got a different color one of these, or I have something that looks close to what you were looking at. I think that you might be interested in this. And so as you're making those 3, 4, or 5 different calls, it will give you the idea that you're not just coming and saying, hey, do you want it? Hey, do you want it? But almost, hey, do you want it with a flair? And change it up and give them an opportunity to say no every single time. Eventually, you're going to come up with something that they're not going to say no to. And that's the idea. So you're giving them broad questions, and they're saying no, and then you're closing in on what's really going to get the sale done. And like Danny said, it could be because they're just tired of dealing with the same old problem. It could be that they finally say, oh, you know what, this thing is dead and I'm done. Or I have money that finally came available. Let me do it. But stay persistent and stay professional, but stay persistent to the point that, hey, I haven't forgot about you. You are that important to me that I want to make sure that you're taken care of with whatever needs you came in here with.
On a side note, the follow-up, but it kind of entails in the same thing, is I want to touch on web leads for a second, all right? Because it's 2023 and a lot of sales are coming in. Danny P, the foot traffic is not as what it used to be, but I'm getting a lot of phone sales, getting a lot of web leads. What advice could we give them, Pete, about how to close those phone sales or web leads? One, I do think is the sense of urgency. That's number one, is responding promptly and properly immediately.
In one word, speed. It's just the speed of the response. If somebody's online versus somebody that's coming in the store. So coming in the store is almost like wading through a product book, right? You're just kind of flipping through the pages and you're taking a look. You know what you want, but you're going to take a look at everything. When somebody's online, they probably have done that already. There's no need to talk to you before they've seen the product that they like, right? They're looking at the products and then they find something they like and then they reach out to you. So the difference between in-store and out-store is that when they're coming out of store, when they're emailing you or they're sending you a message, it's speed related. Get to that and get to it quickly because they probably already know what they want. If they're reaching out to you, it's because they've already made that decision. And now your response to that or your speed to that is going to dictate how fast and how quick and how eligible you are to get that. Because I can guarantee you, if they did it to you and you didn't react in time, they send it somewhere else.
No, I agree.
Don't be the second guy on the list.
Yeah, I agree. Statistically speaking, 20% of all sales are closed on the spot. And I think I was reading something about web leads that maybe it's like 30% web leads are closed right there on the spot, but 50% is a follow-up. So again, it's speed, is prompt response, but then it's you continue following up with them until you close that product. So you really have to be personal, relatable over text or email in this day and age and provide pictures, provide pricing guidelines, all that through digital media in a sense, because that's where a lot of sales are going to be coming from in this day and age. A lot of people aren't driving around the stores. They're online shopping your websites. And then from there, they're just putting in little chats here and there, every single company, whatever. And again, what you just said, who's going to respond back to me the fastest? And then it's who's going to give me the best deal? And then it's going to be like, who has the best availability and quickest delivery? All that contribute to who they're going to decide to go with.
Well, speed and consistency is always going to be the keys on when you're talking about online or over the phone. Speed and consistency, put those two together in any way that you want to, but the faster you get back to them and the quicker that you give them something that they want, then your chances of closing that are going to be a lot greater. And I will say this, and I've heard this a few times in my life, and I always want to say this when I'm talking about sales. Value is not necessarily how much something costs. Value is what you get for the cost. And if I'm paying an amount and I'm not getting what I want out of it, is that really value? If I'm paying an amount and I'm getting twice out of it what I want, that's value. Remember that our services are valuable. What we have is valuable. What our team offers and our team itself, they're valuable. When you're following up, it's because they're valuable. When you take the time to talk to them, they're valuable. When you're using their name, they're valuable. So real quick, just to cover, make sure that you're always ready to overcome those objections in sales. Get their name, use it often. Make sure that you demonstrate the value of their product. Make sure that you are solving the problems and concerns that they have. Remember to always circle back to the need that brought them in. Make sure that you create that sense of urgency because it is an urgent situation for you and for them to get their needs taken care of. Make sure that they understand that the value of doing business with you as a person and with the company in the RTO industry and what we bring to the table. Make sure that if it didn't work out, you follow up, make sure you do it fast, courteously, and make sure you make it happen. If you're given stuff like, I have talked to my spouse, or it's a little more than I want to spend, figure out a way to overcome that and make it your mission to get those things taken care of. Put those objections to the side, and follow up with a consistency of at least 5 different contact times. And then you got to go to the website at www.thertoshowpodcast.com and buy a shirt and be like, yeah, I know how to overcome objections. This is my award for doing it. I'm going to get a shirt that says the RTO Show. And I learned that from Danny and Pete.
Guys, it's the first quarter, and in RTO world, you guys know that this quarter is imperative to us as far as retaining all the growth we did last quarter. And this is a very good episode, in my opinion, because we need to be sales-minded and customer retention minded. And these are some tips that you can utilize to retain those active customers, especially when they pay out or they want to return because now they got some cash and they want to buy something outright cash. You want to overcome all these objectives and try to retain your customers. And again, is expressing and showing them the value of being a loyal customer to you guys. What you have to offer to them is what's going to ultimately help them decide to stay with you.
You always want to treat them like family. And if you guys have any questions or comments, concerns, or anything even about this particular show or shows in the past, we have done a whole lot of different shows about a lot of different things. And we want to hear from you, our listening base, on what you guys think and what could possibly be said or topics that we can go over. You need to email us at pete@thertoshowpodcast.com or danny@thertoshowpodcast.com or message us both. It's quite all right. And for our Who Said What? So Jessica Velasquez from Happy Home Center in Dade City, Florida. We saw Jessica the other day. And who said what? So Jessica, been in the RTO business for literally under 2 years, right? She's already a GM, made her way up. Absolutely doing an amazing job, over 92 or 93,000 rental revs from taking the store at 55. Great job, Jessica. Amazing job. We go in there and we saw her, and she actually had a couple of different things to say that I didn't think I would hear, but they actually did all that growth without certain devices like stream boxes and e-bikes, and that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. And then another thing she said, is you got to be familiar with your surroundings, right? She's homegrown. She knows everybody in her town, and she knows how to make it happen. And the truth is, one of her bites to fame is that she is on live every day.
All day, every day. I actually follow them just for competitive reasons. But I mean, she's on her game. I'll tell you what, I I'm like, man, I yell at my guys. I'm like, look at her. Look what she's doing. She's on live again. Where are you guys at?
Now, we did ask her about any future predictions. She was giving us the honest truth. She's like, you know what? I've got to go through this a little bit longer to get that. But stay on live. That's one thing she's got doing for sure. She makes sure that she stays on live. She can take a core lineup and make it work for her. And one of her best success things is keep tight credit, to hold that credit down.
Oh, yeah. But another thing she said was that, and it is very related to this show, she closes almost every sale. Like, she's adamant about that. Like, she has a no walk mentality. No customer is leaving my store without closing an agreement. And she even said it because if they're walking out my door, they're going to go down the street to their competitors and they're going to close it. That was a quote from Adam Stark.
We overcome all objections. So that is Who Said What with Jessica Velasquez in the Dade City Happy's Home Center. We do appreciate your time. And guys, like we said, please listen, subscribe, go on to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you hit that bell so that you get that ding every time that we put out some new content. We got some new stuff coming out very, very soon. But we want to tell you guys, we really appreciate all the help and everything that you guys have been going. The support is amazing through the RTO community. We actually had some talk with somebody that might be a regular on the show. No, I don't want to say anything else, but I think we got some heavy hitters that want to talk to you and give you the what's up with what's going on.
If you're interested in sponsoring the RTO show, or if you would like us to do a host read ad for your company or for your business, please hit us up. We are starting to take sponsorships and host read ads as well. And if you're not already, guys, following us, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at the RTO show. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff this year, this season, some funny videos. You can also go to our website, check out our latest YouTube commercial videos. We are going to be recording very soon, so a new video will be out. Dun, 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 dun. So make sure you click that like button, that follow button, and follow us on social media. And with that being said, this is the RTO show with Danny and Pete.